Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakadash, the water Yahweh, the water Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Shalaki Yahweh, all the time. Shalaki Yahweh, for my sins as I cry. Call Yahweh, Vashim Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Vashim Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Call Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, water Yahweh, for the Akim that you supply. Water Yahweh, for the Aqua that you supply. Call Yahweh, Vashim Yahushai. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Obadiah Yahweh. And yes, I am here and I am back. And things have been rolling. And I mean, woof, Father is on fire with stuff he's doing with his men, and his women, and his chosen, his elect, and all of the above. Well, you know, we're back and we're getting ready to go through some times that are going to be very, I would say for the most part, they're going to become so righteously balancing. And that's a good way to put it. So righteously balancing that it's going to become something that I believe everybody is going to be looking to become attached to and in tune to. You know what I mean? And everything is just so, it's just amazing how we are being instructed and we are being moved by the presence of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And a lot of times we don't pay close attention to the magnitude of how he is moving us, you know, and what's actually going on. And that's very important. And I think that a lot of times how we lose focus on that is because, as I said in the last lesson I did, we kind of take Father Yahweh as he's the obvious that he's in control of all things. But I think that I know we need to be more cognizant of the fact that all of what is being done is escalating to the point that it has to, and it's going to be beyond our comprehension and understanding in terms of what is being escalated, because that's the only way we're going to get out of here. That's pretty much it. You know, we're not getting out of here under any other premise that we could look at as far as that is concerned. So in lieu of knowing that, we need to be prepared, and we need to be getting prepared, and we need to follow his directives in terms of getting prepared and doing what we need to do. So again, this lesson is going to speak to some very detailed specifics as far as some of the things that aren't expounded on so readily. But again, there are a multitude of individuals who are the elect who are touching these areas, and they are going to be digging deeper into them, because we're working now with a very short window in terms of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai's timeline as far as the prophetic timeline is concerned. So, you know, without further ado, we're going to give our salutations, and we're going to give our utmost respect and admiration, first and foremost, to the men who have been doing a long haul, justified, righteous work in this. The apostles of the Great Millstone have done a tremendous amount of work over time, and they get my admiration and respect in terms of the work that they've been doing for YAHAWAH'S Shah, as well as all of the elders and the bishops and those individuals who are working under them and in that capacity. It's important to understand that the Most High uses his men, the elect, to get the work done. And in the body of Hamashiach, which we all have a part to play, it's good that you play your part to the degree that you've been gifted and blessed with. So that's important to get that out. We're going to get in, we'll talk a little bit first about a few things. I'm going to give you this title. And once I tell you the title, I'm going to get you into scriptures. We got quite a few scriptures to cover and precepts to get into and explanations for it thereof. The title of the lesson, of course, is YAHAWAH'S continuous creation is self-sustaining. That's correct. YAHAWAH'S, the Father, who is in control of all things at all times. We have to make sure we continue to remember this, and we have to make this a precedented process that is so righteously respectful to the sovereign who he is, because a lot of times that name Yahweh is he is, and he is continuously creation, which he is self-sustaining through his continuous creation. Explaining, all right, detail, give you some more information. Okay. Continuous creation is self-sustaining to the point where if we look at the attributes of what I have in my notes here, if we talk about purified, perfection, right? And then we're going to categorize and pull down purifying. Okay, so that's the process he's doing. Then we have cleansing, cleaned and clean, as well as cleansing. Okay, you got the ings on the end to show that the process is continuous and always moving forward in an infinitive manner. Then you got creation. We got continuous and created. All right, so that pattern falls together and comes together as well. Then you got existence, and eternal. Okay, so when I look to my right side of my notes where I break down my bracket to bring forth the continuous creation and self-sustaining, which is YAHAWAH'S Shah, which is the Father of obviously who controls all portions of all things, purifying, cleansing, creating, and existing. Okay, so we went with PCCE. You know me with my little acronyms, right? PCCE, right? So we get that in terms of that portion of how it's being pulled together. Now, again, this is something you definitely want to get your mind around. As I said before, when YAHAWAH'S gives me a lesson, I can't release it until he's ready to release the information, because it's important to do it that way, because the Spirit is going to be in that lesson that gives you the edification you need, as well as the exhortation you can expound on. And so the purifying, cleansing, creating, and existing process through continuous creation, which is self-sustaining, which is our Father. You know, have you ever, like I said before, have you ever seen that infinity symbol that looks like that sideways 8? The Most High, he has to be continuous in creation in order for him to be self-sustaining. If you can receive this, and I'm going to explain a little bit more. If you can receive it, okay, the process of eternal existence could mean all YAHAWAH'S creation is continuously going through an infinitive development process that incorporates all the phases of eternal spiritual balance, okay? Completely, all right? Controlled by our Heavenly Father, Yahweh. I'm going to say this again. If you want to write it down, write it down. If you want to record that portion of it, record it, or however you want to say it. But I'll say it again. Continuous creation is self-sustaining through the fact that the power of Yahweh, the Father, okay? If you can receive this, all right? His process of eternal existence could mean, now I say could mean because I don't know all things, and I don't know certain things, and we prophesy in part and we know in part. So you only get what the Father gives you, and sometimes he just gives you part. So as I said before, the process of eternal existence could mean all YAHAWAH'S creation is continuously going through an infinitive development process that incorporates all the phases of eternal spiritual balance, completely controlled by our Heavenly Father, Yahawah, okay? Which then he passes the process of management on to his son, Yahawah and the angels, who are the laborers and get the work done. Father don't have to get off the throne. And trust me, you don't want him to get off the throne, because if he gets off the throne, it's over, okay? So he don't have to do that. So knowing that portion of it is important as far as the lesson on continuous creation is self-sustaining, which is our Father, all right? He is continuous creation. Don't get it twisted. He didn't just stop creating when he created the heavens and the earth, like Wacky Tackies talk about. No, he is self-sustaining and continuously creating, and he has things that's being created and being managed through creation that we don't even have any clue about. We have no reconciled understanding of it at all. Okay, so let's just make sure we want to do that. And like I said before, Most High Yahawah, he's given us clues, all right? When before we were here, as we always say, if you're here, right, where did you come from prior to being here? Where was your spirit? Where was your body? Where was all of who you are before you were placed in this flesh body on this earthly plane, okay? Well, you say you were with God, or you say you were with Yahawah, or you say you were in the spirit world. Well, and we don't know how many times you passed through here in that process of the agreement that you had when you had your agreement personally with the Most High's presence and Yahushua and the angels. We don't know how many times you may have come through here in the dispensation of time that is associated with what your agreement was and the mission that you were to perform for the Most High Yahawah, Bashim Yoshai, okay? So we get clues to that wiping of that memory process of that meeting to do a degree. Okay, what do I mean by that? You're not going to get to remember all the times that your spirit and soul was placed here in terms of the transition here and then the transition out. That would do some things that would be beyond bugging you out, because then you would know what happened to you if you came here as a slave or at one point, or if you were back in Egypt at that time when you left Exodus. You don't know, and by means of mercy of Yahawah Shem Yoshai, you don't need to know. But what you do need to know is you need to pick up on the clues, okay? He gives us deja vu clues. I'm using terms that you can understand what a deja vu clue is. If you're getting deja vu clues, okay, it puts you in a position where you pick up on the clues. He will say, he'll send you a clue on your mission here, and even if you're getting off track a little bit, the clue may draw you back on the path again and get you going in the right direction. Case in point, we all have probably had deja vu moments in our life, in our lifetime, where we say, wow, somehow this person is so familiar to me. I know that feel like I met this person before, or I've had this experience with this individual before, or, I've been in this place before, or something. It's just so uncanny that it's so familiar. Now, that very well could be that in the transitional period of when you were in the spirit world and then you came to here at a certain point in time, you may have been through that location. And when you were through that location, the deja vu moment of fulfilling the mission of that portion of that mission gets recalled to you to get you back on track to continue moving forward with the next portion of the mission you have to fulfill, however many times you come through here. So that has to be considered when you're talking about the fact that you want to understand how to fulfill this mission towards the end time and what you need to do towards the end time to fulfill the mission. Okay, so, and then the opposite side of the coin on the deja vu moment, or on what, as I said before, picking up the clues is the unction portion, where you could be traveling on foot, in a vehicle, or wherever transportation or process you're going through. And at that time, you get the unction to change the direction or stop and not move forward until a set period of time when the Most High unctions you to say, okay, now proceed across the street, through the intersection, on the train, on the plane, whatever, that, you know, now it's safe to move forward, to continue on the path to fulfill that mission. And if you come off the path, he took you off the path as well, to probably meet up with something, someone, some system or situation that you had to be involved with as far as your mission is concerned, to affect some kind of message to whatever that process would be. So then again, those are the formats of the innovation that the Father puts towards you as far as you fulfilling your mission, and in terms picking up the clues. And as I said before in coining that phrase, you know, if you you get abused if and when you don't, okay, if and when you don't pick up the clues. You can get abused if and when you don't pick up the clues. How do you get abused? Because if you don't pick up the clue on the portion of the mission you have to fulfill, a lot of times that abusement comes from the Father chastising you as a chosen vessel, as a loved one, to get you back in line to do what you need to do. Now, it falls the same way in terms of the process of the 2/3 as far as that's concerned. Everything and everyone has been predetermined before the foundation of the world. That includes all the rest of the nations that are here in this world and have been in this world and came through this earthly plane. All those individuals from the beginning to the end have been predetermined by the Father and have been managed through the process with Yahawashi and the angels, okay? This all ties into continuous creation is self-sustaining because of the fact that it is all under the Father's control, and he is continuous creation. So that bodes to tell you everything he's doing, he's already set it in motion. That's why he said he created the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end. It's already been determined. So when you deal with incidents or situations where you get exposed to things that affect you in a way that seemingly upsets you at some point, or if it makes you feel grandiose or great, it still has all been predetermined by the Most High. His scripture tells you, who can resist my will? You can't resist his will, which means his will is over everything and everything that he created. And I've talked about this as far as the law is concerned. You cannot be not under the law because everything that he created is under his universal creation law. Everything from sun, moon, stars, electrochemiluminescence in the building blocks of everything in the spiritual world, as well as everything in the physical world. It's all under his control. So it means it has to be under his law of creation. And it has stages, as I said before. The stages for certain levels of creation that he made of the elements, that is under a law. Okay, the stages of the creation of Yahawashi and the angels and what realms they can cover and go through, it's still under the Most High's universal law of control, the Father, Yahweh's control, okay? And then to break it down even further into the portions of where we are, the in the flesh, we have a specific law of that's under the universal law that has a stage that nominates and brings forth the 613 commandments that we know of, and I'm sure there's more, okay, because it's universal and it's self-sustaining. So all of those laws were under those laws while we were in these particular vessels, these chains of darkness. And we are to fulfill those laws based on the understanding of the position you're in. If you're in captivity, you fulfill what particular portions of the law that you can while you're in captivity. Don't buy into or deal with debating wacky-tacky anybody. I don't care who they are, whether they the wacky-tacky Christians, or whether they just straight crazy Edomites, or whether they Kemet clowns. I don't care. Don't debate these people, because when you debate individuals, what you're doing is you're saying that you have the authority and the power to debate Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawa's word. No one has that authority, just like no one has the authority to change Yahawa's and Yahawa's sacred name. No one's been given the authority to do that. All right. So that's just as bad as you debating people. You can't debate the scriptures. You can't debate the word. Now, if you're going to say, well, we're contending for the faith, or we're doing it in terms of protecting faith. Do you really think that the Most High, who controls all things, including what you're doing through his son, Yahweh and angels, needs your protection of the faith, needs your protection of it? Understand a little bit better what he means by this. When you are defending the faith or defending the truth, what that means to the Most High is you're not defending something you didn't create. You didn't create it. So in terms of defending it, the way you defend it is through the knowledge that you're given by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi. In other words, the higher level of understanding that you have gives you the measure to speak to defending the gospel in a way where you don't debate someone. Okay, you don't easily shown to shut down. Like when I talk to people out there, highways, byways, whenever I'm out and about, whatever, and I get into any kind of conversation, I always go back to foundational understanding of who is in control. If you attach the fact that the Most High is in control of all things, and you attach that foundationally to him, okay, and to what you're speaking about, the contention has to go away. Because first and foremost, when bug outs talk about some angels fell, or someone can do whatever they want, then you're saying that the power that Yahweh has, the Father, is not almighty. It's not omnipotent, omnipresent, and completely in control. Anytime you say a creation can go off and do whatever it wants to do, you are demeaning and blasphemy, saying that the Father in himself does not have total control over all his creation. And because he does have total control over all his creation, then there's no need to debate. Now, if you're debating anyway, you're doing it for your own monetary core processes. You're doing it for that. You're monetizing, trying to monetize the Mashiach. And if he's letting you do it, he has a driven purpose towards the end of that for you and your organization, no matter who you are. Okay, if you are the ones that it's originated this to the ones that will finish this. If you're monetizing the Mashiach by trying to say that you're defending the faith through debating these people, you're literally going against the Most High. Why? Because he set them in that capacity to be that way. It's like I always say, and he said to me to tell him, I set the bug outs to be the bug outs that they are. Now, if you're going to do your dissertations and your presentations, and you're going to preach and teach the gospel and the truth, and you're going to go at who he set on edge, or who he made crooked and who he made straight, if you're going to address that, reprove and move, okay, you did your part. But if you continue to beat on who he set in the way he said it, who you really going against? Well, think about it. He controls all things. Yes, you cannot dispute that. So anybody who's way weirded out and bugged out to the nth degree, he did it. He put it in that position. He made it that way, and he wants it that way, and he's driving it that way till we get to the end of all prophecy. We can't get out of here until everything goes completely off the rails, because that's when he says in the word he's going to have, in the book of Daniel, he tells you, 12, right? He says, Michael's going to come through and defend for the elect, okay? Fight for the elect. And then Yahushua is probably right on the tail of that, coming right in. Because once Michael, that archangel, shows up, how much longer will it take for prophecies to be finished in order to get through everything? So the Most High already set everything up that's going to happen. So if you get bogged down with bug outs, then who are you really fighting against? You can't change who they are. You can't stop them from being how the Most High made them. He made them to be that way. Just like he made you to be this way in terms of doing the teaching and the preaching and the prophesying and everything of that nature. Okay? If he made you a prophet, you a prophet. If he made you a bugged out prophet, you a bugged out prophet. If he made you an individual that's going to fight against all of what he put in motion, then he made you that way. But just consider from a sovereign spiritual platform, he controls absolutely everything from a foundational position. Everything. So if he wants it that way, it's going to be that way. And you, or anybody else, nobody can change that. Unless he decides to change it, that's the status of the situation. Okay? So, got to get these clues so you don't get abused and keep it moving. All right? So again, like I said, where we need to be is if we're mirroring the Mashiach, we're in a safe place and in a safe space. If we're mirroring Yahawashi, who they even call Jesus, then we're in a safe space. Now, when you mirror him, that means what your moves are his moves, as best you can do based on mirroring him through the word, because he's that living word. Okay? So therefore, if you're mirroring the Mashiach, you want to make sure that the mirror ain't muddied up. Okay, so how did the mirror get muddied up? The mirror gets muddied up over misunderstanding doctrine. If you misunderstand doctrine, you muddy up the mirror of Hamashiach, okay? And then how are you going to try to clean the mirror if you have a distorted doctrine? All you do at that point with the distorted doctrine in a muddied up mirror is you smear the mirror. Now the mirror is still not clean or clear, but you can see something, but you can't see clear enough to mirror the Mashiach. You can't mirror Yahawashi if the mirror is has mud on it from bad doctrine, and you can't see through enough to find where you're going astray, that the Most High set you in that pattern, that motion. Why did he do that to you, right? Why did he put you in front of a mirror where you can't even see the Mashiach correctly, and it's muddy and it's smeared? So now you got a mirror that's muddy and smeared, and you can't see the Mashiach at all. So you still can't see how to grow forward. You see what I mean? Genesis chapter 10, you can go in there and read what I'm saying about this. You don't want to get into a position where you have a messed up, muddy, smeared mirror of how you're trying to mirror the Mashiach. And you can tell whose mirror is muddied up. You can tell whose mirror is smeared. Now, if your mirror is muddied up and you're trying to mirror the Mashiach, you're not going to be able to do it at all because you can't see him. You can't see what he needs you to do either. And the Most High put you in that position, which means it lines you up in the line with the ones that he set for being bugged out, whether you claim to be in the truth or not. Now, if the mirror is smeared, then that means that you have a system, which I talked about many times in lessons and brought it out from the beginning when he told me to tell people you have a spiritual blockage. Now, some people call it blindness. You've been blinded. The Most High blinded you, or whatever you want to call it. But he told me to call it a spiritual blockage. Everything that he has and created has some form of a spiritual blockage. Even Yahawashi and the angels, because Yahawashi don't know when he's coming back here. So that's a form of a spiritual blockage. Spiritual blockage can come in many facets and ways through the sovereign Yahweh. It can come in a chastisement process. It can come in a righteous process, or it can come in something that would be even beyond what we can understand, like with Yahawashi not knowing when he's coming back. So we got to take that in consideration when it comes to what part of the mirror is smeared for you. Saul, on his way to Damascus, and when he was Paul, a doctor of the law under Gamaliel, right? He was a Pharisee. He was going into Damascus to see how many more Hebrew Israelites he can, get into legal trouble with Sanhedrin council and everyone else that was forcing that measure. Okay, and what happened? He kicked against the pricks. He's on the road. Yahawashi, who they even call Jesus, takes him off the horse, and he's spiritually blocked at that time. He knows the law. He's following what he believes is true, but he's spiritually blocked. Now, once he's blocked, he can hear, right? Because a lot of these individuals who are out doing the work for the Most High Yahawah claimingly, they can hear, all right? The senses are working. They can feel, they can touch, they can kind of see with senses, but they can't physically actually see what's going on if the Most High has blocked them spiritually from their visualization, from their mind, their heart, and their spirit, right? Now, he has scales, it says, on his eyes. Now, think about scales. Some scales are a little more transparent. Some scales are less transparent. Now, at some point, he was still able to communicate and talk and understand that he was talking to a sovereign being, a God sovereign being, which was the son of Yahweh. All right. And when Yahawashi told him, you know, I am Yahawashi, it is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. Why are you persecuting me? Right. Roughly paraphrased. Bottom line is, he didn't know that he was doing that because he was spiritually blocked, but he thought he was doing what was right in the law. And by the law standards, he probably was, because he was still able to do it. And then, of course, at some point we go fast forward, Yahawashi gets him up and tells him that you're going to have to go into the road that's straight. In other words, you're going to be straight away doing what I need you to do as opposed to what you think is right for you. And so that straight road is going to be hard. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. And it has nothing to do with anything other than it's going to be a task that's going to be very difficult over a period of time, that you are going to do this work. Now your name is Paul, no longer Saul. And Yahawashi told him, you're a chosen vessel unto me, which means predestinatedly, he was already determined to do what he was going to do. See, he was a bug out at first, right? Why? Because he was killing Israelites. He was locking them up and trying to kill Hebrew Israelites because of the law. Just like we got a lot of men out here now who want to bring the law at you, but they want to try to destroy you based on what their interpretation of the law is, that you're not seemingly following, that they feel, and they're blocked in a way of being able to understand that. All right. So Saul, now it's Paul, and he's on the way to Damascus. So somewhat the scales are removed from his eyes, but not completely. And when he gets to Damascus and he comes across Nicodemus before that poor period of time happened, the angel told Nicodemus who was coming. And Nicodemus is like, yo, I know this man. He kills us. He destroys Hebrews and Israelites and followers of Yahawashi HaMashiach, right? So then the angel told him, Yahawashi told him that, listen, he's a chosen vessel unto me, and he is now a righteous servant, and he's going to work with you, roughly paraphrased. So what was Nicodemus' situation? He also was a doctor of the law. He also was a Pharisee. He also had scales on his eyes because he was blocked from understanding who Saul, now Paul, was. So now you can see where that is. So as I was saying before, you still can't, if you can't still see, you can't grow. So once they got to the point where they could see and the scales come off of his eyes to a degree, not completely, but Paul's eyes were cleared up. He knew what his mission was at that point, or he was growing, Shlaki. He was growing into his mission at that point in time, okay? That memory from those deja vu moments are now starting to take part and take place. And Saul, who is Paul, is now getting into that portion of it, and he's doing the work, and Nicodemus is going to work with him, okay? Barring all of what he did before, when he was a Pharisee, straight up blind, he's now working. So, we're trying to get an understanding here of the fact that the Most High operates in this continuous creation, which is his self-sustaining way that he manages all his creation through his son, Yahawashi. And this is what we're going to start breaking into some scriptures on and get this taken down. But I'm just saying, you got to understand this process and this portion of the process, because if you don't get it, you're going to continue to fight against, you're going to kick against the pricks in terms of Yahawashi and Yahweh and Yahawashi. If you continue to get completely bogged down over the magnitude of the bugged outness that's going through the world as far as what the Most High is doing to get us to the end, then you're basically kicking against the pricks, like Paul was. You studying and you mastering the prophet role and the line that you're following, that you came from, but at the same time, so did Paul. But he was kicking against the pricks, and so are you when you go against the Most High set process that he's using to get us out of here towards the end. He set these individuals, these vessels that all belong to him, me, you, and everyone else, to do exactly what they are doing. Okay? So if you mad about it, if you sad about it, if you let it distract you from the fact that you gotta get the message out, yes, no one's ever saying you ain't supposed to do it and get the message out. But one thing you don't do is you don't linger on it, because you get the message out and then you grow and you graduate to the regeneration of the new message that is coming out of current situation you're in. I love it when my brothers do current events and when they teach through the current events that's happening through the Bible, because what they're showing you is how they're growing through the process of the fact that it's a self-sustaining continuous creation that the Most High has got them set in that pattern. And that's what you want. You want to go ahead and get out of letting the weirdness and the bugged outness distort the process that you're moving forward with, okay? And you can do it because the Most High will get you in that position to be able to do it. And that's what we're talking about here. Okay, so now that we got that cleared up, I know I had to get it out because, you know, at this point, I don't know how much more times or how many more times we're going to be able to do what we're doing, because we're getting some rapid shutdown aspects coming all around with control of financial aspects that are being levied on the entire country, the world, and everything in between. The CBDC situation coming out, which is the fluid, the system that's inside the MOTB. All of this stuff is circling down and closing in quick, all right? And as it closes in quick, it's going to have a detrimental effect, as the Father's doing it this way, on how many more times we'll be able to present what we're giving you now in this format, okay? And I told you before, everybody and every individual that's on this entire earthly plane, and I mean everybody, the elect, the 1/3, the 2/3, and all the heathens and everything in the entire world, you better get ready for isolation tribulation. I'm going to say it again. You better get ready to be isolated and go through tribulation, which is trouble. You better be ready for it, because it is coming. And when it does show up, you could be with someone, but you're going to be by yourself. Oh, what do you mean by that, Obadiah? What are you talking about? I could be with somebody. I won't be by myself. Yes, you will, because your spirit and your soul and your mindset, as well as that body, you might be around someone, but where you're thinking and where you're going, you will be isolated in that process of what you're supposed to do to move forward. If you did not pick up on the clues, if you did not pick up on the directives when the Most High said, go Shem, go Shem, go Goshem. Now, I know it says go Shem, but the Most High is deeper than that. He's telling you, if I'm giving you directives, you need to get the message out, get it to my elect. My elect will get it to the 1/3. The 1/3 will say, hey, 2/3, whatever, you're already set. But go Shem. If you can't get that, if you can't receive that, then you're going to get caught. You're going to be caged, and that's what the Most High wants for you then. But if you get the message and you receive it, then you have to have the directive that tells you to go Shem. You are a Shemite. You are of the seed line of Shem, and you need to go to Goshen, Goshem. You don't get it, then you're going to miss it. And then you're going to know it when you're in isolation tribulation, because you didn't go Shem. You didn't go. All right. There you go. And he always tells you where to go. When he talked to Noah preached for 120 on the years, but he still was go Shem. He was still doing what? He was building what needed to be set in Goshen. You know what Joseph did. He actually did go Shem for the his Israelite Hebrew brothers, right? He was following them. He did that, and many. So he got the message. Do you get it? That's the thing. Don't worry about what the Most High going to do. Yahawashi going to do for you in terms of what he's already set in motion. But you better pick up on the clues or you're going to lose. Let's get into some scripture. Glasses. All right. Shalak. All right. Like I said, this is here for the teaching and the learning. If you ain't here for this, there's so many other channels you can go to and go do whatever you want to do. All right. Now we don't have, and when I talk about Goshen, we're not worried about issues like we scared, we ain't nobody scared, ain't nobody afraid, shouldn't be, because you know the Father's in control of all things. Foundationally attach yourself to that meaning. But I'd like to start quickly here and read something. I'm 16? Right, I'm going to go to the book of 2nd Ezra. That's in the Apocrypha. If y'all don't have it, you better get it out, pull it out, and go there. All right, I'm going 2nd Ezra. I'm talking about Yahweh's spirit is everywhere, and he sends his angels, and there's no hiding place. All right, so 2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 16. I'm going with 62 to 66, and I want to read that to you so that you get a picture for where I'm going with. Continuous creation is self-sustaining, which means he's going to sustain you, and it's going to be continuous throughout eternity. So it's no different in terms of what's happening now leading up to that. 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, starting at 62, and it says, all right, yea, and the spirit of Almighty Yahweh, which made all things and searcheth out all hidden things in the secrets of the earth, surely he knoweth your inventions and what ye think in your hearts, even them that sin and would hide their sin, which you can't. 64. Therefore hath the Lord exactly searched out all your works, and he will put you all to shame. And when your sins are brought forth, ye shall be ashamed before men, and your own sins shall be accusers in that day. 66. What will ye do? Question. Or how will ye hide your sins from Yahweh and his angels? Question. You can't. 67. Behold, Yahweh himself is the judge. All right. Fear him, leave off from your sins, and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall Yahweh lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. Okay? So, wanted to get that out so that you understand where we're going and how we're setting off on this at the beginning. Now from here now, I want to go to Ezekiel chapter 7, because I got a bit to read here, and we're going to go Ezekiel chapter 7, 1 through 27. And we always want, Ezekiel's perfect for what we need to talk about, because thus saith the Lord, okay? This Yahweh, thus saith Yahweh, okay? So let's get to it, all right? All right, and moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, also, thou son of man, thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto the land of Israel, an end. The end is come upon the four corners of the land. See, this is where we're driving to. He's driving prophecy to that. That's why everything is so crazy, and it's going to get beyond crazy. Don't get bogged down with what he's doing. Learn through it and keep it going. Learn through it and do it, okay? All right, four corners of the land. 3, now is the end come upon thee, and I will send mine anger upon thee, and will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense upon thee all thine abominations. See, he's doing the recompensing, he's doing the reproving upon all the abominations. So he gonna do what he gonna do. Does he need your help? Yeah, maybe a little bit, okay, in terms of what you're doing. But you don't control anything. All right, 4. And my eye shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense thy ways upon thee, and thy abomination shall be in the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am Yahawah, the Lord. Yeah, I am the Lord, right? 5, thus saith Lord, thus saith Yahawah power, thus saith Yahawah, and evil, and only evil, behold, is come. And end is come, and the end is come. It watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. Okay, we can see that being the case. In other words, he's telling you he's ratcheting this down. And as he ratchets the down portion of what he's getting done, it escalates everything forward in terms of what you see as troubling that's bugging you out, because it's just going off the chain. But that's the way it has to be. The morning is come unto thee, O thou that dwellest in the land. The time is come. The day of trouble is near, Jacob's trouble. And now, and not the sounding again of the mountains. All right, what is not the sounding of the mountains refer to? We're talking about the mountains represents nations, represents that national power. So the sounding of the nations is not going to matter, even though they're going to be squawking and crying and going off. But so what? We don't care about what they got to say, because this is what the Most High is doing with them. 8, now will I surely pour out my fury upon thee, and accomplish mine anger upon thee, and I will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense thee for all thine abominations. So yes, he repeated what he said back around 3. So as you can see right now, when he says I'm going to pour out, and see, this is part of what we want to express in a continuous creation of the self-sustaining process of Yahawah. He pours out his spirit. When he pours out his spirit, whether it's anger or whether it's righteousness or what have you, it is a self-sustaining infinitive development process. It is infinitive. It's a pouring out of that particular infinitive development process. And that's self-sustaining, okay? Okay, going forward, okay, so he says he's going to pour that out, right? And he said he won't pity anyone, right? Okay, now, 10, behold the day, behold the day, behold, it is come, the morning is going forth, the rod hath blossomed, pride hath budded. So everyone who's involved in the process of trying to distort doctrine, he's got you in that position to do that. If he's leading you astray by allowing you to be spiritually blocked to the point where you have to distort doctrine to get into position to think you're doing something, then fine. If he's got you spiritually blocked to believe that you're monetizing the truth in the word, that's you think that's righteous for you to do that, then you have a blockage, and that's a process that's going to lead you in that direction for that trouble. Okay, that was 8, right? All right, yeah, 9. And mine eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity. I will recompense thee according to thy ways, and thine abominations that are in the midst of thee. And ye shall know that I am Yahawah that smiteth. Okay, 10. Behold, the day, behold, is come, and the morning is going forth, and the rod had blossomed, and pride had budded. Right? 11. Violence is risen up into the rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain, nor their multitude, nor any of theirs, neither shall there be wailing for them. So the Most High is telling you, once he brings that rod up that he's talking about of the wicked, because he's rising up into the rod of the wickedness, none of them shall remain. He's not taking pity on anybody. I was listening to Manak Zabo. He did a lesson recently, in the last couple of days, where he talked about ain't nobody going not be not touched in whatever way. I'm just roughly paraphrasing what his lesson was, but you know, he did a very good lesson on that, and I just thought it was pretty. I felt it was like a real good sharp lesson. He hit a lot of good key points on it, and I just thought it was. He says, what was it? He said that what was it? A judgment can come upon any of us, no respecter of persons. When Manak did that sit down in his car, and I felt like that was a very good lesson. I felt like it hit home on a lot of points that we were looking forward to checking out. And I think that was important. You need to go and check that lesson out and be edified, because it really brought home some really good points. All right. 12. The time has come, the day draweth near. Let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn, for wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. For the seller shall not return to that which is sold, although they were yet alive. For the vision is touching the whole multitude thereof, which shall not return, neither shall any strengthen himself in the iniquity of his life. There's a lot in that right there, okay? And I'll give you some of it, but we got to keep it moving. The seller shall not return to that which is sold. Now, knowing this portion of it, what does a seller do and what is sold? A lot of souls seem to be claiming that they sold their soul to the devil or whatever. No, you can't sell anything that doesn't belong to you. Most High controls all of everything. So anything that a seller shall not return to, which is sold, is already owned by Yahawah, by Shem Yahushua. So you can't return to something and control something that you don't own originally, all right? All right, although they were yet alive, okay? Wait a minute, yeah. It says, for the seller shall not return to that which is sold, although they were yet alive. See, in other words, you were quickened and activated to participate in that process, right? Okay, and that's all you were doing. You were still under control, all right? Alive, for the vision is touching the whole multitude. Why is the vision touching the whole multitude? Because all Israel will be saved, and everybody else will be justified and judged already by Yahawah, by Shem Yahushua. Therefore, which shall not return, neither shall any strengthen himself in the iniquity of his life. So that means real clearly, you can't change the prophecy and the predestination of what the Most High set in motion. And none of the heathen or anyone else can go back and set this back up. In other words, a lot of the elite think that they think they're the ones taking things down, and then they're going to do a reset. They think they're going to have that new world reset. No, you're not, because the Most High controls all things, and you ain't resetting nothing, because that's not going to happen, okay? 14, they have blown the trumpet even to make all ready. See, when you blow the trumpet, in other words, they're announcing everything that they're doing overly and over again, all right? So you are hearing that. But none goeth to the battle, for my wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. Okay, so we just cleared that up. The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field and in the world shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. Now this covers, it's manifold because it covers a lot of areas here. Not only does it cover physicality in terms of what's actually happening as far as the plagues are concerned, which the Most High told us that the plagues will be more than what they were when the plagues were brought forth during Egypt. They're going to be greater than that. But not only that, but it also talks about famine for the truth, the word, the famine for also substance and food to sustain this flesh body as well as what sustains you spiritually and mentally. So that's what you have to take into consideration, that the pestilence is already here devouring multitude of people, and it's been doing that, and he's turning up the volume on it. 16, but they that escape of them shall escape and shall be on the mountains like doves of the valleys, all of them mourning, everyone for his iniquity. So just like in that lesson that he had, you're talking about there is Goshen, there is a place to go, Shem. And then if you follow the directives that the Most High has for you, then you will be able to fulfill getting to that portion of Goshen where you'll have some type of mantle and covering as you go through this tribulation. You're still going to go through it, but you will have a form of a mantle and covering to a degree, okay? 17, all hands shall be feeble and all knees shall be weak as water during this time. which is it's going to be greater than what we can imagine with Jacob's trouble. 18, they shall also gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror shall cover them, and shame shall be upon all faces, and baldness upon all their heads. Okay? In other words, you will cover yourself, but you'll still be exposed to the elements of the tribulation based on the magnitude that this is going to come down on. Okay? Make sure we understand that. Okay? 19. All right. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of wrath of Yahweh. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. Now, this covers a lot too, because it not only talks about what's going to happen to the Edomites and those individuals that this is mainly targeting, but the house of Israel also always is judged first. The Lord says he always judges his house first, okay? So we're going to experience this level that what we may think could provide us with some type of complete covering, some type of complete protection. No, silver, gold, all that. You may have it, but it won't get you what you want. It won't get you what you're looking to think you can have in terms of your level of salvation through this transitional prophetic process, through this tribulation. It's not. You will struggle through the issues of what you have. No matter what, you still want to do that. Okay. All right. Now, dealing with the profaneness of your temple and the temple thereof, we move on to 20, which says, and as for the beauty of his ornament, he is set in majesty, but they made the images of their abominations and of their detestable things therein. Therefore, I have set it far from them. 21, and I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked on the earth for a spoil, and they shall pollute it. 22, all right. My face will I turn also from them, and they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it. Okay? All right, so, and we'll stop on there before we move to the next precept. So anyway, the Most High is saying, look, if he decides to turn his face from you, think about the nature of that. Some people have already had their face turned, the Father's face, his face turned from them. And you can see that based on how they operate in his sacred name. If you're not operating in the sacred name of YAHAWAH'S in any capacity, then what you're doing literally is you have his face turned from you. Okay? His face is turned from you because you are calling on a byword name instead of the Most High. You're calling on JC. You're calling the Father God. You see what I'm saying? And these are titles. That's not who he is. All right? He is Yahweh, and his son is YAHAWAH'S. So once you perform your linguistical gymnastics and bring forth the dishonor of the sacred name, he's turned his face from you. He's not working with you like that. You can believe it. It's not happening. Just so that you can be well aware of the situation. Okay. From here, we want to go to, we did Ezekiel 7, and I'm going to go to Ezekiel. I'm still in Ezekiel, so I'm going to go to Ezekiel chapter 20 now, because it's important that I do some things and get some precepts out of there. So just bear with me and then follow suit. So we're going to go to Ezekiel 20. All right. Where am I at? Okay. Ezekiel 20 is next. What am I doing? Here we are. 20. Move a little slow here on this thing. Okay, we're going to go with Ezekiel 20. We're starting at 1, of course. Yahweh's dealing with Israel. This is a rehearsal, but it's the same thing. And it came to pass in the 7th year, starting verse 1, 7th year, in the 5th month, in the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Israel came to inquire of Yahweh and sat before me, as Yahweh said, right? Okay, slide. Then came the word of Yahweh unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Israel, and say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh power, Yahweh, are ye come to inquire of me? Question. As I live, saith Yahweh power, I will not be inquired of by you. Okay? Look, see, that's what I'm saying. If you pushing doctrine and you trying to say the Most High is in favor of the doctrine you're pushing, and it's not in line with what he said he wants done, but it's in line with what your organization or your camp organization or your church or whatever you calling it is doing, and it's not in line with what he wants, who are you to inquire of him of that? He will not be inquired of by you, okay? 4, wilt thou judge them, son of man? Wilt thou judge them? Question. Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers. And say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh power, in the day when I choose Israel and lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, when I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yahweh, your power. Now, this reflects right now to this period of time that we're in this spiritual Egypt 2.1 or 2.0 with this Roman flavor on it, okay? All right, where we are right now. He's told you his name, he's lifted up his name, and you're still doing it wrong. So that means you're going to have to pay for that. 6, in the day that I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth out of the land of Egypt into the land that I had spies for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands, okay? All lands. That's everything, all right? The whole field of the world. Then saith I unto them, Cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt, or of this captivity, of this miserum that we're in right now, this misery. I am Yahweh, your power. 8, but they rebelled against me and would not hearken unto me, and they did not every man cast away his abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of this Egyptian spirit, Shalaki, that we're dealing with right now. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. Once again, when he starts to pour out something, this is the process of continuous creation in the self-sustaining process that's moving forward for the cleansing, as I said before. Remember, it still falls in line with what I said before. It doesn't back away from it. Purifying, cleansing, creating, existing, right? The PCCE is still there. This is what he's doing. When he pours out his spirit, as he said, he's going to cleanse, all right? And that's what he's doing, okay? Where were we? Okay. Because he said, but I wrought for my name's sake. Oh, see, here we go. This was 9. This was after 8 when he said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. You heard that. He said, then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. Pouring out the spirit is the continuous creation and the self-sustaining process. Don't get it twisted. It's right there. Okay. All right. Number 9. But I wrought for my name's sake. What is he wrought for his name's sake? What is he saying? In other words, he's kind of saying, I'm kind of looking for something that's there. Is it there? Do you get the clues for my name's sake? I've wrought for my name's sake. Do you get the clues for my name's sake? Okay? That it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. It reminds me of earlier, yesterday I was out and about, and there was this guy, and he's out there singing, and he's singing to JC, and he got the American flags out there and all this old stuff, and he got his loudspeaker, and he's on his little stool with his white hat on, trying to look like Frankie Beverly, and he's singing to Jesus. And I rolled up on him, of course, YAHAWAH'S on the vehicle and everything. And I said to him, I said, you've been to the channel and you checked some things out. He said, yeah, I've been to the channel and all this and that and the third. And I told him, I said, well, and then you understand that the sacred name is the Most High sacred name is everything. Why are you out here promoting a name that's not the sacred name? And of course, he went into his typical Christian dissertation about, well, there's all these different interpretations, and what's interpreted to me is not the same what's interpreted to you, and all that, trying to wrap up like the scriptures are of a personal interpretation, which they're not. And I told him, I said, none of the scriptures are of a personal interpretation, and you know this, and I took him to scriptures, but he again, just trying to say, he poured out that spirit on them. They love their slave master. They love they love their indoctrination. They love what has happened to them. They have grown to embrace it because that's what the Most High put them in line to do. He put this guy in the position where he's spiritually blocked, and he loves what he's doing for JC, because that's his portion of being led astray that he has to fulfill. And I didn't, I stayed with him for a minute just to tell him, I told him a couple of things. I said, the scriptures are no personal interpretation, and you really need to just embrace the sacred name of the Father and the Son, okay? Now, there's nothing wrong with me saying that, because I'm not trying to change the fact that he's going to be a bugged out dude doing what he's doing. Fine, you go ahead. But at least I just gave him that seed that the Father wanted me to give to him, and I kept it moving, basically, okay? And that's what we have to do as a representation of how we handle some of this stuff. Okay. All right. Now we stopped at we did that one. That was 9. We did 10. Did we? Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness. See, this is a key. That has a lot to do with Goshen in terms of where you are now. If you understand that the Father said, I brought for my name's sake, that I should be not polluted before the heathen, among whom now he puts you out there in front of the heathen, and he's hoping you get the clue to, just like I told this guy, hey, his namesake, it's important. It's one of the most important things that you can learn right from the start. What is the name? Like in Proverbs chapter 34, right? 30 verse 4. What is his name and what is his son's name, if thou can tell? And how important is that? He took down entire empires that he rose up because he didn't get his name right. You see what he did to Pharaoh. And the same thing's happening right now. Okay? So we can't look past that. He says here that it should not be polluted before the heathen. So you're not supposed to pollute the sacred name in front of these heathens. And he's telling you not to. Among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known. He did it to Pharaoh. Unto them in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. 10, wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness. So when you go into the wilderness, you're going into that Goshen area. That's an application towards that process. But you got to pick up that clue, okay? All right, 11, and I gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. So if I gave them my statutes, which is I'm telling you what to do and how to go to Goshen, and I showed them my judgments, which means I'm giving you time to get your act together to go to Goshen, right? And if a man do what I said and follow my directives, then he shall even live in them. Not die, but live, all right? 12, moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahawah that sanctified them. So if he puts a mantle on you and he sanctifies you, and he lets you, and you obey his Sabbath, like you obey his directives, when he tells you Shem to go, then you will be protected, okay? But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes. They despised my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Sabbaths, they greatly polluted them. And I said, I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them. So basically, also what he's telling you is, you're not going to escape his wrath and his spirit and his continuous creation through the self-sustaining process if you don't follow his directives, which clearly we're not doing. And some of us we're not doing because he's predetermined that we're not going to do it. It's not your free will. He's determined this is who you're going to be and what portion you're going to play. 14, but I wrought for my name's sake, again, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out. 15, yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Now, why? Because they're not paying attention to the clues. You gotta pay attention to these clues the Most High is giving you. And if you don't pay attention to the clues, then his fury is poured out on you and you continue to get led astray based on the fact that this is part of what you've been predetermined to deal with. Now, Yahawah, Elder Yahawah did a lesson the other day, which was really good, when the person asked why the Most High is putting all this vanity and evil, and if we repent, then why we got to go through stuff. Okay, and I gave him an answer for that. What the answer the Spirit gave to me, and he was cool with that. But the bottom line is real simple. All right, before I get into 17, but I'll say 17, and then I'll give my answer for this a little bit. 17. Nevertheless, mine eyes spared them from destroying them, neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. Okay, now that's 17. Now let me explain. All right, for a minute here. All right, now. Look, the Father, Yahawah, he is so above the level of sovereignty. He is so above the level of righteousness and holiness that he's outside of it to the degree that it's a self-sustaining. How do I put this? It's a self-sustaining part of him that just it comes out to form all creation. It just kind of it just comes. It almost at a point where it's the essence of who he is as the Father, and it permeates everything he's created. So his self-sustaining creation is that level of saturation. It's that level of imperviousness to anything that's out there. It holds everything that is anything together. Okay, it is so righteous and so holy that we can't even put a title on the level of righteousness and holiness that it is. And in order for us to be in the position to be in the presence of that in his realm, in his heavenly realm, because there's different levels to the heavenly realm. In order for us to be in that presence, we have to go through such a serious purifying and cleansing and creating infinitive cycle that it's existing, but it won't get to the level of existing that he is, the Father himself. It will be in the realm with Yahawashi and the angels and whoever else he decides to have in that realm. But the imperviousness of the Father and his sovereign to where he is at that level, we won't graduate to regenerate to that level. We won't do that. But we have to go through this portion of getting scrubbed through the purifying and the cleansing and the creation that develops. In other words, when it talks about the law being in our inward parts and how that works, okay, it's like this. What the Father's telling you is that you're going to be in a cycle of continuous creation as you are in the spirit and as your body envelops the law, because you become that. Your whole spiritual body and in the essence of what the mass of electrochemiluminescence that's brought forward, that is going to operate in management and judgment amongst the rest of the nations, will be such a righteous entity that it will be in a continuous creation process also, but it won't reach the level of the Father. Okay, it won't do that, but it will be in that cycle, that infinitive cycle. Because see, that infinitive cycle that I'm showing you, that figure eight, that infinitive cycle, I did a lesson on this similar to this. The Father controls that infinitive cycle. We don't, but we will operate within that in terms of how we graduate and grow in spiritual righteousness and truth. And as that continuously flows through us as created beings that will go through a continuous creation process, that's why your spirit will not ever die. That's why you'll be immortal, because of that type of process. But you got to go through the purification, cleansing, and creation towards existence process to get there. Okay, so when Elder Yahawah was explaining why we had to go through what we have to go through as far as what's vanity when you repent, and then how you're under forgiveness and what the Most High decides to forgive you for, is that process of that in terms of getting you in that position to continually regenerate and graduate through the creation process that is eternal for your creation that he developed. Okay, that infinitive portion that's built in you, that'll have that portion of the law, of all the law. So if that makes sense to you, if you can embrace that, you can understand what I'm saying. But I just wanted to hit that. And that's why I read in 17, I said, he's going to forget, right? He says, nevertheless, mine eyes spared them from destroying them. Neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. 18, but I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe the judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. And we still learn through the teaching and the process where we continue to graduate, to regenerate, and we get to learn. That's why the children were saved here, the fathers from before. They went to the circle of sacrifice they had to give in the wilderness, and they didn't pass into the land and into the new covenant. But all Israel will be saved. So even them back there will still be in the presence and in the future of existing forever with the Most High in their spiritual, as long as they're Israelites, as long as they're in their spiritual bodies and what have you. 19, I am Yahawah, your power. Walk in my statutes and keep my judgments and do them. That's why it's important when I keep saying, Most High keep telling me to tell you, you got to go Shem, man. You got to pay attention and understand when he's giving you a directive to make a move. You got it when he told you to go highways and byways. You got it. He said, go Shem. You got out there and you did it. All right. Well, now when he tells you towards the end time, isolation, tribulation's happening, there will be certain portions of you who are the elect that have to make a Goshen move, a Goshen move. I ain't saying everybody, but there's going to be certain elect that have to do that. Do you know who you are? Are you picking up those clues? Okay. All right. 20. And hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, and ye shall know that I am Yahawah, your power. Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me. They walked not in my statutes, neither kept my judgments, nor do them, which if a man do, he shall even live. And they polluted my Sabbaths. And then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them and accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness. See, he's repeated himself a couple of times to show you the severity. And you notice it's been 3 times this time he did that. Okay. You know, Yahawah Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, right? Rakakadash, right? All right. Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand and wrought for my namesake that this was 22, wrought for my namesake that I would not pollute in the sight of heathen. In those sight I brought them forth. I lifted up my hand unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen and disperse them through the countries, which is where they are, and he'll collect them from there all, because they had not executed my judgments and had despised my statutes and had polluted my Sabbaths, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. 25, wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. See, so the Most High gave that. So like I said before, he said, wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. So again, as I said before, he set the bug outs in motion. He's done this. So if you're going against that, you're going against him, because he did that. All right? You got a problem with that, you got to take it up with him. Don't come talking to me about, oh, you said this over there. No, I just read it to you. He said, wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. He set them into motion that they're in. All right, so let's make sure we understand that. 26, and I polluted them in their own gifts, in that they caused to pass through the fire, Molech, right, which they're doing now, all that openeth the womb, that I might make them desolate to the end that they might know that I am Yahweh. See? So, yep, he's causing them to do that with their children in the fire. He controls all things. If you don't like it, that's too bad. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm not going to tell you our Father does all things, both sides of it. If you got an issue, then, he don't have a tissue for you, because you just got to deal with it. All right, that's just how it's going to be, just like everyone else. All right, you're going to pass through the fire, right? Okay, 27. Therefore, son of man, speak unto the house of Israel, and say unto them, thus saith Yahweh power, yet in this your fathers have blasphemed me, in that they have committed a trespass against me. See? Again, I explained to you why, because you got to go through the purification and cleansing, creating existing process, and learning. You have to learn. It's an education you're getting from the Father. It's not just a walk through wickedness. It's education. All right. 28. For when I brought them out of the land, for which I lifted up my hand to give to them, then they saw every high hill, and all the thick trees, and they offered their sacrifices and their presents, and they presented the provocation of their offering. See, the provocation is what? They provoked, and their offering, and they also made their sweet savor and poured out their drink offering. Okay, so he's getting them to do this, right? Then I said unto them, what is the high place wherein ye go? Question. And the name thereof is called Bam to this day. 30. Wherefore say unto the house of Israel, and saith Yahweh power, are ye polluted after the manner of your fathers? Question. And commit ye whoredoms after their abominations? Of course they do, right? Because that's what he set them forth to do, and they will learn through it. 31. For when ye offer your gifts, when ye make your sons to pass through the fire, ye pollute yourselves with your idols, even unto the day. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel? Question. As I live, saith Yahweh power, I will not be inquired of you. All right. So don't be asking him why he said, don't ask the Most High, why when we repent, why can't everything be done away with and we're covered, right? Why we got to still go through things? Why everything got to be vanity? Why everything got to be this? Who are you to inquire of him? You're a creation. I'm a creation. I don't get to inquire of him. That's why, he told me to always say, praise, worship, and prayer. Praise, worship, and prayer. Not just prayer. See, when you just pray, you're inquiring of him. Who are you to inquire of him? You want to inquire of the Most High YAHAWAH'S? Then give him some praise and some worship along with your prayer. What's your PWP grade level? What is your PWP grade level with the Most High? Do you just pray? That's an inquiry. You're asking, or you're praying to him in a way where you're saying you want to thank him for something, or you're praying in a way that you want to ask him for something. So even when you're praying and thanking, you're still asking. But where's the praise and the worship? Where's that at? Now, he's going to restore us to our land, and we'll get there. And that which cometh into, okay, Shalaki. And he talks about when you offered your gifts, and he says, when ye make your sons to pass through the fire, ye pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be inquired of you, O house of Israel? As I live, saith Yahweh power, I will not be inquired of you. 32. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families in the countries of the countries to serve wood and stone. See, he took you there. You want to go there? You want strong delusion to believe a lie? He did it again. He does it again. Don't contradict yourself with the things you say. Don't say Yahawashi sacrificed himself for our sins. No, he was set up by the Most High from the beginning of the foundation of the world to be a sacrifice for his people. Did he want to sacrifice himself like that? Explain the Garden of Gethsemane. Okay? So, don't be contradicting what you say and what you preach and teach. Teach it straight. You're going to do the straight gate? Do the straight gate. Okay? Now, we're going to deal with this fact that the Most High is going to restore Israel to her land, but it's all under the purifying, cleansing, creating, existing process, which is what I said, continuous creation and self-sustaining. You came from the land, you go back to the land. You made from the land. The land is part of you. When this flesh dies, it goes back to the land. The metabolism that runs this body comes from the land. The animals that eat what they eat come from the land. You consume it, it goes into your body. Your body in itself is a what? What is the makeup of this particular creation that the Most High did through electrochemiluminescence? It is what? It's continuous creation, which is self-sustaining, right? If you eat, what was the other one? Right? Okay, okay, Shlaki. What happens with this body? Every 7 days or something like that, your skin cells are supposed to replace themselves. That's why you should wash and take a bath and don't be stank, all right? Same thing for the rejuvenation of the liver and various organs in your body. The Most High said it in a self-sustaining process where the cells and the metabolism will re-heal and rejuvenate itself. When you cut your skin and your finger and whatever, the skin grows back, the fingernail pattern, the fingerprint pattern never goes away. It's still there. If you were to cut that finger, that fingernail pattern will go right back and mend right where that cut is, and it'll still have the pattern. See, he made you self-sustaining and peripheral in this process. Self-sustaining is just a lower level to way lower level to what he is. That's why when he says he made you in the image and likeness of the Most High, it's deeper than just what you look like. It has everything to do with the self-sustaining process, right? With continuous creation, which is what you are and how he made you. It's just different levels of it. Same thing for every level of what in creation he made, from the angels on up through all the ordinances in heaven and everything else. They all have self-sustaining processes that he sent them through. That is his infinite measure of creation. Can't you see it in what I'm reading here in terms of the scriptures? If you can receive it. Okay? Let's go. 33. As I live, saith Yahweh power, surely with the mighty hand and with the stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I will bring, 34, and I will bring you out from the people, and I will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. So, do you want to go, Shem? Do you want to go, Shem? Okay. Do you want to go? Or do you want to stay in Esau's world and get lined up so they can collect you in one of those Walmart shopping carts where they put them together and wheel you into the warehouse and put you in a nice little spot until everything's almost over? Which one do you want? Okay. Face to face, 36. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of in the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahweh power. 37, I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, which means we all have to go through this process of the tribulation. Nobody gets to skate. Sorry, no skating allowed. 38, and I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me, and I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. Now, he's going to purge out the rebels. It's kind of easy to see who the rebels are now, isn't it? I said this earlier in the lesson. It wasn't that hard to figure out, right? If they're bugging out against the Most High in terms of what he's doing, they're not using his sacred name, they feel like they could change it, they're monetizing the Mashiach and the Word, they're trying to monetize the Father, right? They're doing the things that are contrary to the true doctrine, all right? They're going off and doing all kinds of weird, wicked stuff because the Most High put them in that direction. They have to be purged out so that we can learn from what the Father's doing with that. And this is what we're going to find out. 39, as for you, O house of Israel, thus saith the Yahweh power, go ye, serve ye every one of his idols. That's right. Go ahead and live it up to the end of the tribulation, because he's going to take it all off the rails. Okay? All right? Shalach. All right. And serve every one of the idols, and hereafter also, if ye will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name, no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in mine holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, saith Yahweh power, there shall all the house of Israel and all them that eat in the land serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things. And you only get those when you're going Goshen, my brother. Okay? All right? Where we at? Okay. And all your idols and name moreover the gifts. For in my I will accept you with your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein ye have been scattered, and I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. And this is what's coming. 42, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for the which I lifted up my hand to give to your fathers. 43, and there shall ye remember your ways and all your doings, wherein ye have been defiled, and ye shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that ye have committed. Now, if the Father says ye shall know, he says, and there shall ye remember your ways and all your doings wherein ye have been defiled, and ye shall loathe yourselves. Now, I did a lesson on, it was a while back, a good while back, we talked about something similar to this. I can't remember the title off the hand, but it had to do with the vexation of our own guilt. Okay. The vexation of our own guilt. You might want to go check that lesson out. The vexation of our own guilt was talking about the fact on how we as our own people have an evil eye towards our own brother, and towards our own neighbor, which is our brother. And we have an evil eye towards the tenderness of who our brother is in this twisted situation the Father's got us in to learn and come out of. And the vexation of our own guilt also incorporates and encompasses how the men in our nation hate our own women, and how they have a love or a take for the heathen women of the world. but they hate their own Israelite women, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. And the thing is that you messed up on this, because he just told you right here in the scriptures, he says here, and there shall ye remember your ways. So if he's gonna have you remember your ways, you're gonna remember that you have you have a hateful discontent for your Israelite men and your women. And what else does it say here? And you shall remember your ways and all your doings. So all the time you've been calling the women nigger women and going off, you're gonna remember this. Now you better have a good temperament and a good blessing come to you when you get into the new kingdom, that the women don't remember this shit that you've been doing. Now, but he says here, all right, and there shall ye remember your ways, comma, and all your doings wherein ye have been defiled. And you know you've been defiled here when this fallen state here. So you in this position where you hate your own women and you hate your own brother, you know what I'm saying? But you love the heathen and you love Esau, you know, and you love all these other heathen women, right? And ye shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that ye have committed. So you're going to know that you were the way you were and what you did to your people at that point, because this is what the scripture said. Now, you got a problem with what I'm saying here, prove me wrong. Because when you get in a position where you become completely holy and righteous in a new vessel, new body, I don't see how it ain't possible that you're going to be able to take an unclean vessel and then attach it to yourself. How are you going to do that? How does that work? You cannot remove the reproach of a heathen. They that way. You can't remove Esau's reproach or Esau's woman's reproach. So you can't have that Esau cave beast woman as some kind of a second wife or concubine, because they're not going to be in existence. They're going into slavery, and they're not going to be clean. And when you become a sovereign, clean being in the new covenant, you can't remove the reproach of a cave beast. So how you going to do that? How you going to remove the reproach of any heathen? The only reproach that I see can be removed from understanding the way the Most High operates is your own women. That's the only way you can do that. Can you remove the reproach of a Moabite, an Amorite? Can you? Where does it say that? I mean, it's good to, you know, if I'm wrong, show me. Show me where you can remove the reproach of an Edomite woman. I don't see it. Not digressing. We're going to get back to what I'm talking about. They get to, the Edomites, they get to go. They're going to do what they got to do. They're going to perform their portion of the slavery. And then the Most High takes care of the rest of whatever happens to those spirits. You ain't got nothing to do with it. Okay? When it comes to that. Let's just make sure we're perfectly clear on this. All right? Now, again, we're going to finish. Ye shall know that I am Yahawah when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for the which I lifted up my hand to give to your fathers. And there shall ye remember your ways and all your doings, wherein ye have been defiled, and ye shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that ye have committed. 44. And ye shall know that I am Yahawah when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, not according to your corrupt doings, O ye house of Israel, saith Yahawah power. Okay? So, we can see Most High's going through a major cleansing and purification process. And Reproaches will be removed from those that reproaches can be removed. And reproaches will not be removed from those vessels and those entities and people that reproaches cannot be removed. Because who removes the reproach? The Most High, YAHAWAH'S, not any of us. Okay? Now, let's go on, and we've been kind of long on this. We got some more scriptures to get through, and most of them, thank YAHAWAH'S, or just the precepts that tie everything in, and we can close it out soon, because I know we're getting deep into the time here. But like I said, I don't know how many more times the Most High is going to have me do a lesson at this particular point, because things are winding down to a close for the most part. So we gotta, do the best we can under the circumstances, right? Okay, let's go to, we've been in the Old Testament. Let's go in the New Testament. We're gonna go into Joel. I know y'all probably all been here and know that, been there, done that, and ready to move in that direction. But we're going to be getting into the New Testament soon here. We just gotta finish out a few in the old. We got Joel. We're going to go to Joel. So go with me to Joel. And I'm going to chapter 2. And you know where I'm going with 28. So let me go there. Joel chapter 2 and starting at 28. And we're going to get 28 and 29, right? And it reads, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions." Now, when he says all flesh, a lot of times all the time wacky-tackies get out of line and they don't know what they're talking about, because they think that he's talking about all the people of the world. True, he will pour out his wrath and his spirit on all the world. But when he says, when he's going to pour it out for ones that are prophesy, he's really talking to us Israelites who are the chosen people. This book is not for the rest of the nations. They play a part in it, like background knowledge and background activity in the movie. And some of them come up front for some similitudes of some major parts, but they are still background activity. And so all flesh poured out, the major portions of what is poured out in all flesh will contribute to what happens to these heathens through us and by us through the Most High. Yahawashi by Hashem Yahawashi, okay? So make sure we understand that part of it. So when they say all flesh, don't think that, well, everybody's going to be, all Edomites going to be prophesying. No, they're not. They're not prophets. Unless they are Jake and Edomite package, no, they're not. Okay, so let's not get it twisted. 29, "And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit." But he didn't say they were going to prophesy. He just said he's going to pour out his spirit. Now, when the Most High pours out his spirit, he could pour out wrath from his spirit as well as blessings. So what are they going to get? We don't know. It could be a combination. That was not given for you to know at the moment. We just have to see how that unfolds, and we are seeing it even as present, how it does unfold. Okay, so now we went to, that was Joel. And now I want to go to Acts. So go with me to Acts chapter 2, and I want to go Acts chapter 2 and verse 17, because that's where we're going next. Okay, Acts 2 and 17. And it reads, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith Yahweh, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh," there's a colon there, "and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." Right? 18, "And my servant and and on my servants and on my handmaids I will pour out those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy." See, when he says there, they shall there, right? "And I will show wonders in heaven above, signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor and smoke. And the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and notable day of Yahweh the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Now, that the Christians, they jump all over this because they're always trying to find a way to include themselves in things. And they think that, okay, so are you going to have some kind of handmaids, okay, and servants that during this time right now that are, let me put it to you this way, servants and handmaids right now that are Edomites or heathens? I would safe to say no, because most of your handmaids and servants are usually at this point in time Israelites. The Edomites and those heathens that are now given puppetized control of the world system at present, they are far and few between handmaids and servants, okay? We seem to be occupying that space quite effectively and fluidly. That is Israelites from Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, and also beyond. And so the spirits of prophetic process poured out on those handmaids is Israelites that could be look scattered and working under Edomites, because they at this particular time have the puppetized power that the Most High is using them for. They don't get to prophesy. They're false. They're lying. They're the false lying prophets, which we know Most High controls all things. So we need to understand that this is pertaining to Israelites, whether they are covertish in their presentation or whether they are overtish in their presentation. But this is pertaining to them, even in the handmaid and servant capacity. I just wanted to make sure you know that. Servants and on my handmaidens. Israelites, not heathens. They ain't getting this, okay? They don't get to prophesy, all right? That was, of course, like I said, that was Acts chapter 2:17. And now we're going to go to, Zephaniah? Yeah. Zephaniah 3, and I want 8, right? Zephaniah 3, verse 8, it says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey, for my determination is to gather the nations." Okay, now hold that thought with the nations, "that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." Now the Most High showing you that he's kicking, dragging, and taking nations, okay? That now when you use nations, it can be intermingled with Gentiles. It used to just be nations until they Septuagintly started factoring in the word Gentile to muddy the mirror, smear the mirror, and make you think that Edomites and certain heathens are included. Don't walk past that, okay? All right, just wanted to get that out, but I need to get that precept. Okay, next, we're going to Zechariah. We just came off of Zephaniah. We're going to Zechariah, and we're going to Zechariah 12, and we're going to hit precept 10. And it reads, "And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem." See, we're pouring. Again, when I talk in reference to what's being poured, it is drawing you back to what? Continuous creation is self-sustaining. Anytime something's poured out, it fills whatever it's poured into or onto. You pour water into a glass, it forms that glass, okay? You pour water over that glass, it covers that glass, and it flows across it. What does water do also, as a metaphor? It is a self-sustaining, continuous development. It's a phase. It's one of the phases of continuous development. Water goes through a cycle, right? It can go up as steam, come back down as rain. It could be frozen as ice, water, and snow. So it has a continuous metabolistic phase of sustainability, okay? If you can receive it, okay? I'm just talking to you this, to me, this is like an 8th grade level, if you can understand it, all right? Okay, okay. Again, we're reading Zechariah 12:10. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. Okay? There's a lot in that, but you should be able to get it if you've been in this long enough as the elect to understand all of that in the sequence thereof. Shall look upon whom they have pierced, okay? Regeneration, all right? And they shall mourn for him. Why? Because they see the majesty and the magnitude of what he did, that the Most High set him forth for sacrifice for us, okay? All right? As one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn, which means this whole station of what we're going through is now coming to fruition, and the bitterness is there on both platforms, no matter who you are, okay? All right, the next one we're going to is Hosea, and we're going to go to chapter 5, and we're going to get 10. And it reads, the princes of Judah were like them that remove the bond thereof. I will pour out my wrath upon them like water. Read it again, okay? The princes of Judah were like them that remove the bond. Why? Because Ephraim shall be a desolate in the day of rebuke. Among the tribes of Israel have I made known that which shall surely be, right? So we got a lot of wickedness that has to be managed and is being managed towards education to know what's necessary for purification, cleansing, in the creation and existing of our cycle of infinity, as far as the phases go, of balance as far as our creation is. We got to get through those phases of balance, and we can't get through them without that infinitive creative process the Most High has through his continuous creation of self-sustainability. And we need to understand that, okay? All right, now, we're going to go from there, we're going to go to, next precept is going to be Jeremiah chapter 10:25. Jeremiah 10:25. So go with me to Jeremiah chapter 10, and we're going to read 25. And it reads, pour out thy fury upon the heathen that know thee not, and upon the families that call not on thy name. For they have eaten up Jacob and devoured him and consumed him, and have made his habitation desolate. Let me read it again. Like I said before, when the Most High does the pour out process, as far as the continuous creation of self-sustainability, in that phase of infinity, wrath comes with pour out as well as blessing. You know, just like when we talk about the 7 vials and the 7 veils, and and everything that's poured out, right? And then what the angels pour out, that spirit of what's poured out will cover a multitude of various things in that sustainability process. Okay, I'll read 25 again. Pour out thy fury. Okay, all right, let me give it to you. All right, I'll go up a little bit so that you can hear why it's doing this to the heathen. 23. O Yahawah, I know that the way of man is not in himself. What? Time out. Are you kidding me? Yes, because he controls all things. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. So stop freaking out over the stuff the Most High is doing to the bug outs, because he just told you here. The Most High, O Yahawah, I know that the way of man is not in himself. You control that. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. O Yahweh, correct me, but with judgment, not in thine anger, lest thou bring me to nothing. Stop messing with the Most High's program and thinking you need to correct it. He's doing it this way. I'm not going to go off on a tangent. I'm getting back to 25. Pour out thy fury upon the heathen that know thee not. And these JC, Jesus Christ cats, even the ones in the elect, are the ones who claim to be in the truth, which clearly they're not if they're not using the sacred name. He's pouring it out on you. Okay? And upon the families that call not on thy name, for they have eaten up Jacob and devoured him and consumed him and have made his habitation desolate. Okay? Clearly we can see that. All right? Next we're going to go to Jeremiah, stay there, 14. And we're going to go Jeremiah 14 and 16. And it reads, and the people to whom they prophesy shall be cast out in the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and the sword, and they shall have none to bury them. Their wives, nor their sons, nor their daughters for I will pour their wickedness upon them. See? When I keep telling you, when he talks about pouring something out, what is it, people? The continuous creation of self-sustainability operating under the phases of balance. He's pouring out the spirit on this stuff. It has to happen. Okay? Let's go to 18, Jeremiah chapter 18, right? And we're going to read 21. And it reads, therefore deliver up their children to the famine and pour out their blood by the force of the sword, and let their wives be bereaved of their children, and widows, and their men be put to death. Let their young men be slain by the sword in battle. And this is what we're talking about, what's happening and what's coming. Okay? Do you know what's happening? Are you awake? Are you aware? You need to understand. Okay, now we're going from 18 Jeremiah, we're going to Psalms chapter 42 and 4. Okay, so go to Psalms 42. Psalms chapter 42. And we got precept 4. When I remember these things, I pour out my soul in me, for I had gone with the multitude. I went with them to the house of Yahweh with the voice of joy and praise, with a multitude that kept holy days. Let's read that again for clarity. Now, this is pouring out of your spirit once the spirit of Yahweh is in you, showing your gratification and showing your appreciation and your gratefulness for what he's about to start doing for you, which we're going to start talking about as well. Okay? And it reads 42:4. When I remember these things, I pour out my soul in me, for I had gone with the multitude. I went with them to the house of Yahweh with a voice of joy and praise. You hear that? Praise, not just prayer. Praise, okay? With a multitude that kept holy days. All right? And if I read the next line, which I'll throw it at, I'll give it to you. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? Question. And why art thou disquieted in me? Hope thou in Yahweh, for I shall yet praise him for the help of his countenance. Okay? Praise him. Figure it out. Psalm 62. Okay, that's the next precept. We can rewind down. We almost there. And verse 8. And it reads, trust in him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before him. Yahweh is a refuge for us. Selah. Okay? You can't trust in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. All right? That was Psalm 68, 8 and 9. All right, next we're going to Proverbs. We're getting down to the end now. Proverbs. And we're going with chapter 1, and I want 23. And verse 23, and it reads, Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit upon you, right? I will make known my words unto you, right? 24, because I have called and ye refused, I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded it. But ye have set at naught at my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity, and will mock when your fear cometh. Okay? And when your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, and I will not answer. They shall seek me early, and they shall not find me. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose to fear Yahweh. They would none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of the fool shall destroy them. And the last verse, and it reads, But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. So, if you're listening to your camp, and they're giving you some bad doctrine, and they're telling you to do some stuff that you clearly know the Most High can tell you to do, and you go ahead and do it anyway because you want to follow what they're saying as opposed to following what YAHAWAH'S is telling you through the Father, then all of this applies to you. And your calamity's coming, he's going to mock, he's going to laugh, and you're going to seek him, and you're not going to get him or find him. So if you ain't picking up on the directives and on the clues and going and doing the Goshen rule that Noah did, that Ezekiel did, that Joseph did, that Isaiah did, if you're not doing that, hey, then get ready for the sword and get ready for a lot of stress and anguish, like the Father said here. You know, whirlwind, when stress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but shall not find me. So this is what you're going to get. It's as simple as that. Okay? All right. That was Proverbs 1. Now we're going to go to Isaiah. We're going to wrap it up here. We only got a couple more precepts, and then we'll be done. Isaiah 44:3. So we'll go to Isaiah, and we're going to 44. And verse 3, it reads, For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground, and I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. Okay? And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses. Okay? So we can see right now the Most High is ready to pour out his spirit on those he has to, and get it done in the way that he needs to get it done. All right? From here, 44, we're going to go to 46. We're getting ready to wrap it up. 45, my bad. Isaiah chapter 45. And we're going to read verse 8. And it reads, Drop down, ye heavens, from above, and let the skies pour down righteousness. Let the earth open, and let them bring forth salvation, and let righteousness spring up together. I, Yahweh, have created it. Okay? So that takes care of, and then we're going to close out with Revelation, and we're going to bring in Revelation chapter 16, which will preclude And that will finish off the lesson. Most High wanted me to get out. I did have what? Yep. That's where we're going to be, because we got everything else in. All the precepts the Father wanted me to get in, I got in. Revelation, and we're going to go with Revelation, and we're going to do 16 and 1, right? And it reads, "And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Yahweh upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the MOTB, and upon them which worship his image. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea." And that's amongst the people, and the sea represents the people. "And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and the fountains of the waters, and they became blood." Rivers and fountains are smaller portions of the earth in terms of the people, okay? Cities, towns, okay, all right? "And I heard the angel of the water say, Shlaki. And I heard the angel of the water say, thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and wast and shalt become and shall be, because thou hast judged thus. For they have shed the blood of the saints and the prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. 7. And I heard another out of the altar say, even so, Lord Almighty Yahweh, power, true and righteous are thy judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial, and upon the sun, and the power was given unto him to scorch men with fire." We got the nuclear coming, as well as the chariots and the lasers, okay? "And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of the Most High Yahweh, which had power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues to pain, and blasphemed Yahweh of heaven, the power of heavens, and of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds." And 12. "And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up." You've seen that happening already, that the way of the kings of the east may be prepared. 13. "And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come from out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet." Clearly we know that these unclean beasts represent the various levels of wickedness and deception, from the frogs on through the dragon and on down. "And for they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and the whole world, to gather them to the battle, that great day of Yahweh, power almighty, Armageddon. Behold, I come as a thief, Behold, I come, Yahushua, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame." Okay? 16. "And he gathereth them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, right? And the seventh angel poured out his vial on onto the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from throne, saying, it is done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since we were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. 19, and the city And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the city of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before Yahweh, power to give unto her cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. 20, and every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And finishing up, 21, and there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, about as much as a car. And men blasphemed Yahweh power because of the plagues of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. Oh, Yahweh, Vashem Yahusha, Vashem Rakakudas, Water Yahweh, Water Yahweh, Vashem Yahusha, Shlaki Yahweh, for my sins as I cried. Babakasha Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Babakasha Yahweh, for a power every time. Barakatha Yahweh, for your love all the time. Oh Lord Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh, oh Lord Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh. All right. And then we'll have to close out here, and we will see you on the other side. Shalom.